Hey everybody, it's David coming back at you from Zone 5B, the southwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. We're going to have another indoor video on hydroponics. First, I want to say I am by no means an expert in hydroponics. I know a lot less about hydroponics and aquaponics than I do about outdoor gardening. But again, in order to grow indoors here in Zone 5B, where the temperatures outside get below freezing, it's necessary to go in other directions. So first, I wanted to start off and just show you guys how things are going. So you see my cucumbers are actually to the ceiling and coming back down. I do have a lot of flowers up there. I'll turn the camera around here. Okay, there you go. Now I should be able to zoom and you can see I do have a lot of flowers up there. And that is what you definitely hope to see. That flower right there in the middle is a female flower. You can see the baby cucumber on the end of it. And this plant is going to produce mostly female flowers, and it doesn't need pollination. It is parthenocarpic. So it will produce cucumbers for me, even without insects for pollination. Indoors, you can also use a fan, which you should really use anyway to strengthen your plants to help pollinate certain species. But this cucumber just doesn't need pollination because of that. Over here, I have some mint growing. I have another long mint growing back here. And then my tomatoes are doing pretty well. You see some of them are branching out towards the window. And the rest of them I have trellised up this string that I have attached to an eye bolt in the ceiling. And what I really wanted to show you guys was my NFT system. And of course, that's nutrient film technique, where water runs from my reservoir up into the pipes, through the pipes, so it only leaves behind a small layer of water and nutrients. Because it's hydroponics, we do have nutrients in all the water that we give it, and I want to show you how amazingly it's working. This is lettuce. This lettuce is massive and doing really well. Since I started monitoring the pH of the water and adjusting the EC for leafy greens, it has just exploded in height. I have bok choy growing over here. I have more lettuces and some spinach growing there. And then I do have another round getting ready to go in my tabletop. So that one will go into the NFT system when it gets just a little bigger. And then according to picture this, that is actually a little strawberry plant I have growing there. So again, you can grow a lot of different things if you take the time to learn how. Over here, my 2 grape cuttings are doing really well. They started out as bare sticks. You can see lots of growth on there. My pomegranate trees are hanging in there. I did use the pet water bowl system for the hydroponic system for those. Over here, I do have some patio tomatoes that I started in that bucket. In these containers, I have seeds that are coffee bean seeds and ice cream bean seeds that I'm waiting to see if I can germinate. And then in this little bowl, that is radish, some radishes growing. My trees are still hanging in there. My blood orange is the big one, my Meyer lemon. And then over behind it, my cucumber and my tomatoes over there are already at head height or higher. So you can be really successful growing indoors. It doesn't necessarily take a lot of equipment. It doesn't really take a ton of knowledge. All you need is some kind of reservoir, which can be a 5-gallon bucket or even a smaller bucket. An air stone helps, but it's not absolutely necessary. And then a way for the plant's roots to get into that reservoir. What I wanted to do today, it's been a while since I posted a video, but I wanted to show you guys how I prep my water. My reservoir down here is completely empty for my lettuce and my bok choy. So I am going to refill that reservoir, and I wanted to show you guys the process. So let me get this adjusted. So in my watering container here, I have water from the tap. I've already introduced my nutrient solution in there. So I know the EC is pretty close to right. And now what I need to check using my pH meter is the pH of the water that came out of my tap. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this really well. Let me zoom. So the pH of my water right now is at 8.15. And you can see it's still adjusting some. Before I started the video, it pretty much bottomed out really close to an even 8.0. What you have to take into consideration when you're talking about the EC of your water is the nutrient solution as well. The solution may throw off the EC of your water. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add some pH down into my water to try to get it into the sweet spots that I'm looking for. I use my printed out chart here that tells you the EC that you need and the pH that you need. And for lettuce, which is right here, it says that the pH should be between 5.5 and 6.5. So I am going to have to come down here like 1.5 points on that. And then it tells me my EC, the electrical conductivity, should be between 0.8 and 1.2. When I checked that before I came in here it was at about 1.3, but I am going to add some more plain water as well. So what we're going to do is take my injecting syringe and put just a little of that pH down in there and then squirt some of it in the water. I'm going to stir the water up. It really doesn't take a ton of the pH down to adjust the water. So you need to be really careful so you're not constantly chasing that pH. If I put too much of my pH down, then I've got to get the pH up out and I'm battling to get it back up. So it's better if we can just get it right the first time. So I'll inject a little, excuse me, I'll stir the water and then I'll test the pH again. And you see right now it's really slowing down around 7.5. So it looks like it only came down about 0.5 point. So I will need to put some more in there. Give it a stir and see if it comes down at all. 7.55. Okay. So let's inject the rest of that in there and give it a stir. And then we will check the pH some more. And you see I'm at 7.1. There we go. 7.19 is where it's sitting right now. And then it jumped back up to like 7.2. So at this point, I'm going to get a little more of that pH down in my little syringe here. And we're going to put that in the water. And I only used about half of what I had in the syringe. So this is about a teaspoon or so. And I only injected a portion of that because, again, I don't want to blow past my 6.5 to 5.5. I'd rather hit it on the nose and then stick. So you can see it's going down now. Now it went back up. Let's give it a good stir. Over time, if you use the same nutrients, you'll get a little better at knowing how the nutrients affects your water pH. So the adjusting part will be a little bit easier. Looks like we're at about 7.04. Let's put some more in there. And give it a good stir. And again, the reason you're adjusting your pH is because plants have a preference for the pH that they grow in or they'll grow best in. Some plants it might be a single number, and other plants it's going to be a range. So with the lettuce and the leafy greens, I at least have that big range between 5.5 and 6.5. So it means I don't have to be as precise, but it's really important to know what pH whatever you're growing prefers. And it can vary greatly. There's some things that can thrive in a pH as low as 5.5. There's some that can be 6.5. And that's about, looks like pumpkin is 5.5 to 7.5. Pak choy 7. So it is kind of all over the board as far as the pH goes. Let's do a little bit more and stir it up. And then we're going to test it, see where we're at. So this might get us there. We're at 6.7. Again, I'm looking for under 6.5 for that range that I can go with. Turn the light back on. 6.55, 50. And you see how fast it started to drop there. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting it mixed into your solution really well. And it looks like we are really, really close to where we want to be. 6.53, 54, 55. So it's right around that 6.5 mark. Maybe a little bit high. So we will do one more. And I think that is going to do it. It would be easy to kind of cheat your way out of this and not worry about the pH. And you might get lucky. You might be able to grow something. But unless you happen to be really, really lucky with blind luck, it probably isn't going to grow to its fullest ability if you don't adjust the pH and the EC. So we're at 6.4, 6.45. So I am really happy with that. So that's what I'm going to go with. I will just pour my water into my reservoir, which is just an old styrofoam cooler. And then go from there. So again, there is a little knowledge needed if you're it's not super technical. It's not super difficult, especially if you stick to the same kind of plants, like the leafy greens with the lettuce. If you grow all lettuces in your NFT, then you're going to have the same pH, the same EC every time. If you're going to grow tomatoes and cucumbers, they have different EHs and pH from lettuce, but it is close enough that I have those in the same system. My mint is doing really well in this system as well. So all you have to do is print yourself out a chart like the one that I have here. Look up what you want to grow and then make the adjustments. The chemicals that you need, the pH up and the pH down, they are available from hydroponic stores. You can probably find it at fish tank stores, pet stores, because of your fish tanks, or you can get it on Amazon, which is where I got mine, and then just decide which nutrients you want to use. Now, I did mention before, with these tabletop models, they come with a very basic nutrient that's supposed to help both the pH and act as a nutrient for whatever you grow. I think it's great for starting your plants, starting your seeds, but once it germinates and once you get a decent root growing at the bottom, like this one here, I really prefer to switch to the system where I'm adjusting the pH and I'm adjusting the nutrients myself, just so I know that I'm giving the plants everything that they need to help them grow to their fullest. So I hope you guys got a little bit out of this video. I hope you'll give aquaponics or hydroponics a try. If you want to start simple, look up the Kratky Method, Kratky. That's probably the easiest way to get into hydroponics and see if your love for it grows the way mine has. Thank you guys for watching. We are going into Thanksgiving week here, so I don't know how much I'll be posting in the next week or so, but I do always appreciate all of my viewers. I appreciate any of the feedback that I get back, so leave me comments down below if you have any questions. If you've tried one of these systems or a different system that I haven't tried, let me know what your experience is. Let me know what your hopes are, or if you have any predictions for how things are going to grow here, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, grow a little every day. Never stop growing. Have a happy Thanksgiving next week, and I can't wait to see you guys all back here again real soon on Come Grow with David A. Have a good one, guys.